We are starting volume number 3. We finished 2 chapters of this textbook, that is cash flow statement and accounting ratios. Now this is a very small chapter, very easy also, but calculations are there. We are going to discuss chapter number 3, tools of financial statement analysis. So what is financial statement? That you all know. We have trading P&L and the balance sheet. I mean financial statements of sole proprietorship organization. Okay, that means profit making organization. We will be discussing usually about profit making organizations, isn't it? But in previous videos we were discussing that NPO, that is over. Now we are discussing the financial statements of profit making organizations, that is trading P&L and the balance sheet. We don't have to discuss that. The analysis part is what we are going to discuss, because how to do P&L balance sheet that you have studied in 11th standard. So now we will see how to analyze these financial statements. What do you mean by analyzing? We are observing or we are examining the financial components of these financial statements. That means the figures. Financial components means the figures of financial statements, so that what are the advantages? You can understand the financial performance. From trading P&L you will understand the financial performance. From the balance sheet you can understand the financial position, so that you can take better decisions regarding the efficiency of the organization. So that is the purpose of doing financial statement analysis. And we have certain tools. Already we discussed 2 tools. One is cash flow statement, other is accounting ratios. So these are the 2 tools of financial statements. We have 2 more. That is, next one we are going to discuss is comparative statements. Then the 4th tool is common size statements. So these 2, comparative and common size, will be discussed in this chapter. So first of all you need to know the P&L format, not last year's format. See, you remember the balance sheet format which we discussed in this textbook, the vertical format of the balance sheet. Similarly, we have the vertical format for P&L account. So we will go through that first. Page number 1.41. Did you see that heading statement of P&L, that is profit and loss? One format is given there. Particulars, not number, then the amount columns. So the first item, we know that P&L account will be comparing the expenses and the incomes. You remember last year's format, expenses used to be written on the debit side and incomes on the credit side. So the P&L account format, that is the horizontal format which we discussed. Now everything will come on the left side, just like we did the balance sheet. So expenses, incomes, everything will come on the debit side, the left side. Debit and credit sides we don't have, only one particular column we have. So the first item given there is the income section, revenue from operations. Revenue from operations means it is the sale value. It's also known as revenue from operations, or the other name you have learned in accounting ratios chapter, that is net sales. Okay. Then other incomes which we have to add with this. Usually other incomes won't be there in the question. Then total revenue, add these 2, you will get a total revenue. Then the expenses. So expenses section include cost of materials consumed. What's the formula? Opening stock plus net purchases minus closing stock. Then purchases of stock in trade, that means the purchases value you have to take there, that's also an expense. Then change in inventory of finished goods, work in progress and stock in trade. What do you mean by this change in inventory? Change in inventory means it's the difference between opening and closing inventories. Okay, so change in inventory means opening minus closing figure. Usually these items will be given directly in the question. If it is not given, change in inventory, how will you take? Opening minus closing. So there itself within brackets you write opening minus closing. Then employee benefit expenses, finance cost. Okay, now what is employee benefit expenses? Expenses incurred for employees benefit, like salary, wages, bonus, leave encashment. Have you heard of leave encashment? That means employees, when they don't take their leaves, they can encash this. They can get money instead of their leaves, instead of taking leaves. They can avail this facility either at the time of retirement or at the time of resignation. That means when they leave the organization or during the service also, they can avail the leave encashment. So all these are employee benefit expenses. Then finance cost means that you would have heard cost associated with or cost incurred on borrowings. Like a bank loan, when you take a bank loan, you will have to pay interest on that. So that is a finance cost. It's a cost associated with the borrowings. Interest on overdraft or interest on cash credit, interest on debentures, all these are finance cost. Depreciation, see all these examples which I am saying now, it's given there in your textbook. 1.41, the format you can see. The next pages they have explained each of these terms. So you just can go through the examples or now itself when you listen to the video, you just take down the examples. That is enough, no need to go into detail. Nobody will be asking you what is the meaning of change in inventory and all. After all, this is a problem paper. So for you to understand the meaning, you can read that. Depreciation and amortization expenses. Depreciation, what is depreciation? It is decrease in the value of fixed assets. Amortization means decrease in the value of fixed intangible assets. We know that out of fixed assets, we have tangible and intangible. Reduction in value of tangible assets known as depreciation, and reduction in value of fixed intangible assets like goodwill, trademarks. So reduction in value of intangible assets known as amortization. Then other expenses. So add all these, you will get the expenses. Then why you preparing this P and L? You need to know whether it is profit or a loss. So compare the revenue with that of the expenses. So if revenues are more, automatically it will be a profit or else loss. Then after that, it's written like profit before tax. So normally you will have to pay tax out of your profit. So deduct tax from that, you will get the final profit or loss. Okay. So that is how the format is. Format, you should be thorough with the format. Then only we can work out this. Now you give the heading. You copy the format into your notebook. Then you write this heading. Comparative statement of profit and loss. Give this heading. We are going to discuss comparative statements. Again, under comparative statements, we have subdivision. One is comparative statement of profit and loss. The other is comparative statement of balance sheet. We want to analyze both P&L and the balance sheet. So first we will do comparative statement of profit and loss. What is the other name for P&L account? Last year you have learnt. It is also known as income statement. What about the balance sheet? It is also known as position statement. Okay. So comparative statement of profit and loss. Now we will work out illustration number 8, page number 3.15. Illustration number 8. So give the heading comparative statement of profit and loss for the years ended. We are doing here for 2 years. Years ended 2012, sorry, we are doing illustration 8, 2019 and 2020. This is how the heading should be. Now we will draw the format. You have to copy the question itself. Copy the entire question. I mean, one P&L. Okay, in this question, P&L format is not properly given. But look into the previous illustration 6 and all, illustration 5, 6. There they have given the figures directly. Revenue from operations, employee benefit expenses, other expenses. So we have to copy the same items. With that, we will add 2 more columns. Okay. So the first column, now I am going to copy the question itself. That is how you have to do. Then with that we will add 2 more columns. So the first column is particulars. March 2020. Okay, that is current year figure, isn't it? Write previous year first always. 2019 you have to write first, then you write current year. So that you have to remember always. In your question it would be given in the reverse order. Reverse means they have written 2020, the current year first, but when you write in the answer you have to write the previous year first. Previous year, then current year. That's how you have to write. Then, okay, that's what is given in the question. With that, what you have to add is absolute change. 2 columns will add absolute change and percentage change. So this is how the format should be. We are comparing the previous year with the current year. So we have to find the difference between these 2 columns, that's absolute change column. Later we will convert it into percentage. Within brackets you write percentage. This will be in rupee. Okay. Now we will just copy the items given. The first item given there is revenue from operations or net sales. So we will write here revenue from operations. Okay, revenue from operations. Figures, when you take, be very careful. We have written 2019 first, so take 2019's figure. It is written as 2020 and 2019. The order is different in the question, but when you write, always write previous year first. It is 3,20,000. So this is section 1, 3,20,000 and 5 lakhs. Yes. Now percentage change means current year minus previous year. This is for you to understand. So for the first question you write like that. Current year minus previous year. For exam also if you want, you write this. So you will not make mistake. Current year minus previous year. That also do very carefully. Sometimes you will get a negative figure. Sometimes you will be getting a positive figure. So always do current year minus previous year. It's how you have to compare. So 5 lakhs minus 3,20,000. This 1,80,000 we will write as absolute change. Next we have to do the percentage change. That means what you have to do is this absolute change divided by previous year value into 100. See, in maths you would have studied how to convert a figure into percentage. That change divided by initial value or the base value into 100. That is just mathematics, okay? It is not accountancy. So this is how you have to convert into percentage. Absolute change by previous year's value into 100. So here the absolute change is 1,80,000 by previous year's 3,20,000 into 100. So here the answer is 56.25. Percentage symbol already we have written within brackets there, that is enough. So here you just can write 56.25. This is how we have to do the entire question. Understood? These 2 figures directly given in the question, but make sure you are writing previous year's figure first. Then compute current year minus previous year, convert it into percentage. These are the additional columns which we drew. The rest is there in the question itself. Okay, so first section is over. We don't have any other incomes. So revenue section is over. The second section we will write. That is expenses. Always show calculation like this, and in case if the question paper is lengthy and if you are in hurry, if you don't get time, at least you do the calculation like this. because this will take some time. That's why I'm asking you to do calculations yourself. Don't take your calculator and do all these calculations, because anyways for exam you can't use calculators. So make sure you are doing it yourself so that your calculation speed will increase. So in case if you don't get time, no need to calculate the figure, just write like this, 1,80,000 by 3,20,000 into 100. At least you write that. You will not be getting full marks, but some marks you will get. So if you don't get time, you can do that. Then expenses section. So in your question they haven't written heading like expenses, they haven't given numbers like this, but you should write in the actual format. So when you do the answer, the actual format must be followed. We should have a revenue section, we should have an expense section also. Under expenses we have to write, that's why I asked you to learn the format. Purchases of stock in trade, take previous year first, that is 2,50,000. You can give subheads, that is 1, 2, 3. If you don't give also fine, but give the main head expenses. 2,50,000 and 4,50,000. So the absolute change, current year minus previous year, 4,50,000 minus 2,50,000. Then convert it into percentage, it will be 2 lakhs divided by 2,50,000, the previous year's value, into 100. It is 80%. You can write 80, we have written within brackets percentage already. Then which is the next expense there? The next expense there is change in inventory. So second subhead you can write change in inventories of stock in trade. Is the value directly given? Yes, 50,000. For 2 years it is 50,000. So absolute change will be 0. 50 minus 50, 0, or you can write nil. Then percentage change also will be the same. Will be the same means will be 0 or nil figure, because both these are same. So 50 minus 50. So there is no absolute change and there is no percentage change. Then we have other expenses for which value not directly given, that you have to compute. So here other expenses will write 30 and 40. Yes. So the absolute change will be 40 minus 30. Yes, positive 10,000. Sometimes it will be negative value also. So you have to do that carefully. So 33.33 you can write. Then what is given next? Next what they have given in the question is tax. But now expenses section got over. You remember the actual format. In that actual format, once you finish expenses, you must have something like total expenses. For revenue, why we didn't write like total revenue? Because we were having only one item. So here we have to write total expenses. Now you just draw a line, because we are going to add all these figures. Add these figures. Previous year's figures we'll add. The total is 3,30,000. Then the other figure current year is 5,40,000. We are just adding all these. Okay, when you compute the absolute change, how will you find the absolute change? That you have to again compare. Don't add and write. You have to compare now. So 5,40,000 minus 3,30,000, you can write that 2,10,000. Later you convert this 2,10,000 into percentage. So percentage column, absolute change column, don't add. As usual, you have to compare the figures and take the values. 2,10,000 divided by 3,30,000 into 100. What is the percentage? It is 63.64. So now your expenses section got over. We have to find the profit or loss. revenue minus expense we will do. That is total revenue minus total expenses. Okay. Yes, so profit before tax we have to compute. All these not given in the question, but you have studied the format already. So same like that you have to do. So you can just close this, just draw a single line. Then the next section is profit before tax. Total revenue minus total expense you have to do. Total revenue is 3,20,000, total expense is 3,30,000. This will result in a loss of 10,000. So minus 10,000 you have to write. So here we will write loss. Okay, this is the loss amount. Or else like in the question you can write it as profit before tax itself. When it is given within brackets, understood that it is a loss, though you don't specify it as loss. Yes, so 10,000, then total revenue for the next year 5 lakhs minus 5 lakh 40, so negative 40,000. So 2 years we are having a loss. Then absolute change, how will you find? That is minus 40,000 minus 10,000. The calculation you do carefully, because we are doing current year minus previous year. Current year minus 40, then minus previous year is again negative figure. So minus of minus. So this will become plus minus 40,000 plus 10,000. Finally the answer will be minus 30,000. Okay, so absolute change you can write minus 30,000 in this column. This is pure mathematics. Then what will be your percentage change? It will be minus 30 by minus 10 into 100. Previous year's value is 10,000. So it is 300. Minus and minus, it will be positive figure. So we got profit before tax. Actually the next is as per the format we have less tax, because this is profit before tax actually. So less tax is there, but should we deduct tax if it is a loss? No. No tax will be computed if it is a loss for that particular year. So with this you can stop, and this figure you can now double line. They have written like less tax, nil figure, profit after tax and all. It's not compulsory, you can stop with this and you can write a note. You write a note after this, tax is not charged or levied since it is a loss. You can double line this. This one you can write profit before tax, because we have written within brackets, no, so that you make it as profit before tax itself. Okay, so that is illustration number 8. Next we will work out illustration number 4. You give the heading comparative balance sheet. Same like this, no change in the formats. Format means column headings are again same. We will just copy the question first, then absolute change and percentage change we will add. Calculations, everything same. Only thing is balance sheet items would be different. No, you know the balance sheet format, equity liabilities, then asset section, everything on the left side, because we are following the vertical formats in these chapters. So we will be doing that format, but rest everything is similar to this P&L. The calculation, everything is same. So you give the heading comparative statement of balance sheet. Comparative, we are doing illustration number 4. Comparative statements of balance sheets for years ended okay, for balance sheet it's not for the year ended, it is as at, you have to write it as at 2 years given in illustration 4, 31st March 2019 and 2020. So this is the heading. Now we will draw the format same like previous question. Okay, particulars column, then we have note number. See, did I draw note number in the previous question? Actually nothing will be written. I think I haven't drawn note number column. Okay, just draw note number column. Particulars, after that you need to draw not number column. Here in the question also they have given not number, but for P and L also in the actual format there is not number column. Nothing is written in this column, but even then since we are following the actual format, you just include that column also there. Okay, not number column also we need in P and L also. So particulars column, not number column. Then 2 years we will write as it is given in the question. As it is given in the question means, but not in that order. The figures will be there same as that in the question, but order you have to take previous year first. That you have to remember, previous year then current year. Then what will you write? Absolute change and percentage change, just like previous question. Rupee symbol and percentage symbol you showed. Now you just copy the question itself. Here the entire balance sheet format is given in the question. For balance sheets, they will give the format directly like that. Only for P and L you will have to add certain sections like total expenses, then profit, then less tax. All those you will have to write. That is only for P and L format. For balance sheet you can just directly copy it from the question. So first heading is equity and liabilities. First one, shareholders fund. Below that, now I am just copying the question, share capital. Below share capital again they have given like equity share capital and preference share capital. Not number column can be small because we are not going to write anything in that. Write previous year's figure first. Here both are same, 60 and 15. It's actually in lakhs, 60 lakhs and 15 lakhs, but you just have to write 60 and 15. Within brackets you can write in lakhs. In the question it's given no, in lakhs. 60, 15, yes. So absolute change and percentage change, it will be nil. Then we have B, reserves and surplus. You just have to copy the question, find the absolute change and percentage change over. Okay. 15 and 18. Yes, write previous year first, then current year. So absolute change, current year minus previous year, it will be 3. Then percentage change will be 3 by 15 into 100. It is 20. Then next section of liabilities itself, that is non-current liabilities. Below that we have long-term borrowings A, against which we have a not number. Why they are giving not number? Meaning is there would be not to account. So immediately when you see not number, immediately you have to refer not to accounts given below. So there not to accounts given is loan from bank and others. Those two information which is given as not to accounts, now we will include it in this answer. So under long term borrowings, against long term borrowings the figures are given like 45 each for 2 years, but don't directly write that 45, we will write the split it here. So in a column you write loan from bank. What is previous year's figure? Previous year figure is 30, then other year is 27, then we have loan from others. Previous year figure is 15 and the current year is 18. Now we will compute the absolute change and percentage change. Absolute change 27 minus 30, it will be negative 3. So always remember it is current year minus previous year. If you do the reverse here, it will be a positive figure. So don't make careless mistakes. In this chapter, there are chances for you to make careless mistakes, since calculations are there. then minus 3 divided by 30 into 100. So the percentage will be minus 10. Then here 18 minus 15, it is 3, 3 by 15 into 100. So percentage is 20. Okay, only for long term borrowings we have that not number. All other figures you just have to copy it from the question directly. Compute the absolute change and percentage change. You understood how to do. I am not doing it. You have to continue the question. Then the total of liabilities in the question also they have double line. You also have to double line when you reach the total. Then total, for total also you have to compute the absolute change and percentage change. Same like this. Don't add all these and write the total. You have to compute the absolute change using the same formula, current year minus previous year. Then percentage changes the absolute change by previous year into 100. Even for total you have to apply the same. So you compute those amounts and complete this question.